Welcome back, punters, to another edition of Rapid Fire. Of course, we've got Jason as a party assisting us with his thoughts on Melbourne in particular, and John in Sydney. The Caulfield Cup day tomorrow, and of course Everest. Both wet decks, and hopefully Caulfield will improve a bit, Jason.
Yeah, I think it will. Look, it's a 10 this morning. They're saying they're expecting no rain today, and it'll be a 9 by this afternoon. And with sort of 18 degrees and a bit of wind around tomorrow, I'm thinking it's going to get back to an 8. The track was in outstanding condition before the carnival started. So it's not going to be the heavy like we've had in Sydney because it just haven't had the months of rain. So, yeah, sure, it'll be rain affected, but certainly shouldn't ruin the racing, and hopefully, best horses will still be able to perform well.
Timmy mentioned Wednesday. He said, like I said, how was the track? He's like exactly what you said. He said, no. He said it's still got firmness in the base. He said Sydney's just mush. Like it's nothing like the tracks we've been seeing there. So hopefully you're spot on.
And I think the good thing is the track manager didn't put filler on the track yesterday whilst it was raining, which will give that sort of real bit of mush. So they just let it go yesterday. All they did was roll it. And then they'll start sort of, putting the work into it with now clear once they're sure there's no more rain. So, yeah, I think forget about this heavy 10 and complete bog. It just won't be like that. It will definitely be rain affected.
Okay, we might start with the Everest in Sydney and get that out of the way. John, you've got the market there.
I thought we only did Group 1s and 2s.
Get that.
Well, I call the Everest a Group 1.
Oh, well, you
call it a Group 1.
My data doesn't fit that, but that's okay.
Well, it does.
It's a pop-up gimmick race that is closed to all entrants. But anyway, let's go.
They made a very nice. They made a very nice video. A very nice video.
Class 1. Renault's won an hour maiden. It's second favourite for the Caulfield Cup. What are you talking about?
I'm on at 51s. I hope it wins.
Okay,
Everest,
John, let's get into it.
230 to 210. I don't know where the 230 was, but anyway, 210 Nature Strip, $6. Well back, Lost and Running, $10 Mars Crusader, 11 Eduardo, 11 Jacquino, 12 Private Eye, 16 Marzu, 21 Giga Kick, 41 Ingratiating, 41 Shades of Rose, 51 Overpass, 67 Joyful Fortune. How the hell is Kim? Oh, it's not in the race there. I won't even call about it. I just thought, how the hell is Kimentari longer than Joyful Fortune, but it's an emergency.
Okay, so John, let's start off with you because you've no doubt spent a lot of time on this race.
Chomping at the bit. No, I like Nature Strip's obviously the obvious. The map I think is good for him, as I think the draw's perfect. It's just maybe a little bit sticky because there are sort of 3 or 4 under him that are a little bit wild card. So horses like Shades of Rose, horses that he hasn't come up against previously. So these horses that could get in the way, Joyful Fortune, that might cause him to be wide. And I just sort of went looking for value and thought that Lost and Running's the horse that could easily end up on his back. Love that he's had 2 runs back, really well set up. Sat wide and kept coming first up the other day. Similar was the first horse to make a run, and I thought he peaked sort of 150 out. I think he'll improve again here and run really well. And I just, if I'm poking holes in all that lead up form, so all of their form, including Nature Strip, saying horses like Anathol closing and Brutality closing on them's a bit of a scary thought, then going looking for the other form line, I think Private Eye's the one that I want to find. I just think that Melbourne run is a really nice clean out run on a dry track with fresh legs. I don't, the drier the better for him. He's got wet track form, but I think he's a much better horse on top of the ground. And if Abdullah can sort of extricate him to the middle and give him time to wind up, I think he's the one that can be really dangerous late. Obviously Jacquino brings a different form line as well, but I just same sort of thing. I think Private Eye is a different level to Jacquino, and he's just got that one extra wider draw. I think is going to help Private Eye get to the middle where Jacquino is probably going to be last the fence or somewhere similar. So for me, I think Lost and Running can track up on the back of Nature Strip and give him some trouble. And if Private Eye gets a crack at them the whole way up the straight, I think it'll be the strongest late.
Yeah. Okay. Great, Jason.
So what do you see in the track here being, guys? Like rail back to the true? Is we expect
rail back to the true? You want to be off the inside.
Want to be off the inside,
straight? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Do you want to back Nature Strip or not? I mean, there's just no holes in him for me. Seems like he's getting better. The wet's a tick. I was really sort of first up thinking, well, let's see how he comes back from an overseas trip, something we haven't seen before. And I mean, he was just sensational, I thought. For me, it's very hard to see him getting beat, but anytime, I remember the race when he opened $1.30 on Wednesday and jumped 220, and I absolutely unloaded on him, and Eduardo fought back and beat him, and I just can't catch him.
It's weird, isn't it, for a horse with such a good winning record?
He's just an outstanding. I did back him in the Everest when he fell in when Mars Crusader flew home. I did back him that day. He'll probably win. Things that I could say, I thought Eduardo is maybe the forgotten horse at the price. They said they sort of eased up on him last start, so but he'd need everything to go right here to beat Nature Strip at 12, I think. I just don't think any of the others are good enough. Private Eye Wildcard, yeah. Love to hear Paul's thoughts on what price he's got. Jacquinot, Giga Kick's got none. From a Melbourne perspective, I'm obviously a big fan of Jacquinot. I took the $26 after the Golden Rose. He's into 11, but I think it's a dead ticket. So I'll be watching and praying Jacquinot wins, but I would absolutely fall over if it did win.
I don't think Jacquinot's got the credentials that Yes had, which I was keen on when it won as a 3-year-old. So, and I also think that it just might get back a little bit too far as well. So, look, I've got Nature Strip on top. I'm against it at the price. Got it marked longer, around about the 7-4, 15-8 mark. So, obviously, be laying it here, I'd say.
So, in that circumstance, just for everyone else, would you, given how exposed everything is, even though you've marked it longer, would you actually lay it if it was $1.90?
$1.90, yeah, $1.90, $2. I have to lay it.
Okay.
Lost and Running is a clear second pick for me. I just think that its figures are good enough. It's third up here. Should be absolute at its best. I think map-wise, I think it gets into a decent position as well. Definitely have it second pick. And I thought the one at long odds that could run a race is Marzu. I haven't heard much talk about it. I just think it'll also be cherry ripe third up as well into the race. Eduardo I've got in there is sort of around about the market price, a bit longer maybe, but not, it's obviously Some Hope, Mars Crusader, who probably doesn't go as good on the heavy for mine, and Private Eye right there as well. So, but I think the value at this stage would have to be Lost and Running and Marzu.
I like those horses that were in 6 months out. You know what I mean? So they've just had one target, haven't they? So yeah, Marzu fits that bill as well. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get on to Caulfield. Before we do, of course, Punters, this show is of course brought to you by Top Sport, our friends there, and Tristan, obviously facing a bit of headwind at the moment too in terms of his business and some changes they're making. You can still get on the MBLs, of course, but importantly, you can get on from the time they go up at all venues. So if you don't have an account already, make sure you get yourself sorted.
Broke his foot playing indoor soccer there a couple of days ago too. He's under the weather. How do you break your foot in goal as a goalkeeper? Very difficult, but he managed it.
Yeah, it's not good. Okay.
The McCafe Sprint.
Let's get on to the McCafe.
Is that the time-honoured name of it? What did it used to be called? Was it actually
the Caulfield Sprint?
Yeah, Caulfield Sprint. Caulfield Sprint.
Yeah, it's a drive-through coffee race. Beautiful.
Well, we still call it the Caulfield Sprint. Market
Dragonstone, $3, 440 Asfura, Generation 460, Kalos 8, $11 Ashford Street, Express Pass 11, 21 Oxley Road, 21 Sartorial Splendor, 34 Free of Debt, and Rock Artist $41.
And John, you'll love this. When our boy Malachi flew down the outside and won this race in 2016, it was actually called the Dilmar for Lovers of Tea, Caulfield Sprint.
I remember that. I remember that. They were huge at the time. Those ads and all that Ronda and yeah, beautiful.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Look, I'm coming off a couple of losing weeks. First one I've had for a few months actually, so I'm really trying to compose myself at the moment and stay true to the tried and tested. But I keep getting frustrated because every time I do form, I look at the market. The market's in line with how I've looked at the race. I thought Dragonstone's unders here. I sort of looked at it and thought, here's a bet, but I can't take the price. Bit of speed, so 1 and 3 are scratched. I see a lot of speed from 10, 11, 12 here, and then the outside gates. Look, he has to give a lot of weight away here, but I'm just going to give him. This is a last chance generation, fair income. But if you do look at his form that he's been running in, Zedatives, Group 1 William Reeds, Doomba 10,000, beat a lip shooting for gold, 4th in the Moya last start. I mean, it's just so much better than these horses. I know he's got to give weight to some decent horses. I think Zara just sort of comes across with Rock Artist from 11 and Sartorial Splendor. I can sort of see him getting 1-1 here. Wet's okay. I just think surely this is his race. $4.80, I think it is. I think you can nearly get $1.80 to place each way again. I tipped it each way first up at a decent price. And I think, again, here you can't do your cash. I'm just going to take a set against Dragonstone from barrier 2. I think he could be sort of 3 back the rail here and could be in a bit of a spot of bother. And I don't think that's TC's sweet spot. And the one I'm going to save on is Kalos. I've always had a good opinion of this horse. Loved its win last start when the tongue tie went on. Dropped 7 kilos here, gets car. I don't know if 1,000 meters is ideal. It was 1,100, be all over it, but it doesn't get too far out of its ground. It is a pretty average race. I think maybe Kalos could run really well at $8. So they're the two I found. Asfura is the other one who's got a lot of speed, was very unlucky last start. Down the minimum, I'm just not sure if she's going to get taken on and at this level. So Generation from Kalos for me.
Yeah, I'm in your camp, Jason, with Generation. It's my top pick. I'm against Dragonstone as well. I think also the surface, the wetness of the surface might be an issue for it.
Dragonstone?
So yeah.
Okay. I thought. Look, you guys know.
It depends how wet it is, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it was running seconds to Andermatt in those heavy tracks when Andermatt was absolutely flying. So I thought it was going to be okay, but take your guidance.
No, I'm not saying it can't handle. I'm just saying the figures that it can produce aren't as good, and are slightly dulled by that. And really, the map is the worst thing here for me, given that the inside is probably not going to be the place to be.
Flashed out in the gates, and we're ready. But it's not just the.
What have we got there, John?
No, I was just looking at the last trial of this thing, and I just had the volume on by accident.
Yeah. Generation for me, I think it's a bet. I think one worth saving on here is Ashford Street. If you're wanting to back something at a better price, around that $10, $11, I think it might be. And there's still a few other chances in the race, like Aspora, Kalos, and Free of Debt for mine, I think, as well. But for me, it's Generation and definitely something on Ashford Street.
I've been waiting for Dragonstone to run in this race, but it's just sick. Even the gate, even Malkovich coming out and dropping the gate one's brutal. He probably could have just dropped in behind and tried to work his way to the outside from the go-get and been very hard to beat, but gate one's going to make it all the more difficult. The price is just the weirdest part, like far out, and it's been backed. It's like, what the hell's going on? But I know the stable's going well, but yeah, it's sickening, and I think, I just can't understand why Generation is not favourite. I think it has to start favourite. Drawn perfect, it's just the rock solid horse in the race that draws perfect to bully them a little bit, and like you say, I think it's a bit D-Day if you can't put these away. Yeah, he's going to be. He's maybe under the pump, but Dragonstone's very scary. Horses flying, I would imagine, and they wouldn't take it down here for a practice. It just needs a lot of luck from the gate, and the price is so short that there's nothing you can do but to bet around it.
Yes, yeah, I think it's just really a price thing and map thing for me. Okay, let's get on to the Tristark Stakes over 1,400 metres. John, the market.
Chain of Lightning, $5.50, $6 Pride of Jenny, Palacepan, $6.50, another one drawn one, sickening, $8 Argentia, sorry. Flying Mascot, $8, $8.50, Kiss on All Four Cheeks, Fortunate Kiss, 14, Excellidor, 15, Tycoon Evie, 20, 26 Mirror Vision, 31 Cliff's Art, 34 Paul's Regret, 30, he's never had a regret. 34 Rocket Clock, 41 Papali, 91 Miss Cartier.
Jason.
Well, pretty strong, deep race here, which is good to see that, horses are coming down from Sydney and not staying there for that rubbish invitation race next weekend that Volandis is blatantly trying to bring in to ruin Derby Day and the Mire. That's all he's done it for. So this is a good lead into the Mire. So you do need to be thinking about here who's using this as a stepping stone for that Group 1 in 2 weeks on Derby Day. I think it's a tough race. Geez, I wanted to back Palace Saipan. I waited on Monday for the prices. I thought I was going to get double figures, and they went up 5. It's right in it, but again, you're going to have to see on the day what that's like. It could be, again, 3 back the fence. Don't love it. Good on the people who got $26 prior to Jenny when the markets went up Monday. My Lord. So anyway, where I've landed here is I'm going to forgive her. I've got a lot of time for this horse, and that's number 6, Flying Mascot. I think you're going to get double figures on the day. She's close to that now. I thought her first up run was okay. Paul and I both liked her second up, and there's no doubt she was disappointing. I think this stable's about to go bang. I think they've been I think their coats have been a bit off earlier in the spring. I'm just going to bank in the ability of this mare. I know he's always thought not can win, but has a very good chance of winning the Mire in 2 weeks at Group 1 on Derby Day. And they're going to really need to be running well here. They're a month between runs. They've gone back to the jump outs. I think the wet's okay. She won on Cox Plate Day. It was only a 5.5 in the data, but it was a pretty sticky track that day, and she absolutely pissed in. I just can't forget that win. I'm going to bank her in here. Her ability to turn it around and come good. Palace Saipan, I think, has got the best form, but again, price and favour I'm a little bit against. And the other one who's rough is Fortunate Kiss. She just keeps missing the start and drawn 10 here, which isn't ideal, but at about 20s. She's been running enormous in the same form lines. And I could see her running a race. So that's the way I've taken it. There's a bunch of form lines here, typical mares race, which is quite difficult. But that's the way I'm playing it.
John?
Yeah, I thought it was impossible. I went looking for a horse that sort of mile back to 1,400, and that was only Kiss on All Four Cheeks. I thought it was only fair the other day. Probably got cluttered up and didn't appreciate the way it raced there. Back to 1,400. It's got soft form. Just didn't do enough to want to find it. I just really didn't like the race at all. I couldn't find any of the other horses. Even Barbrader, if it was on a dry track, was the one I wanted. It's obviously not getting a dry track and it's scratched. So, yeah, I passed this race.
Yeah, okay. So for me, I've got Pride of Jenny on top. So, and I think it represents value even now. Just different horse since it's joined the Mar Eustace yard, and I'm banking on that. I just think the wide gate's probably actually a good thing for it. So yeah, it's on top for me. Look, Chain of Lightning, I've got in there narrowly as second pick. They're saying it didn't really handle the conditions last time out, so that's a little bit concerning. Still raced well, but just a slight question there for me. Placid Pain, I was on it last start and a bit sick, but look, I couldn't back it from that gate, and so I've kicked it in the guts accordingly. Kiss on All Four Cheeks, John, the horse you mentioned, I think it will be suited back to 1400 for sure. I don't think there's any value in the price there at the moment, though. And Flying Mascot, Jason, there's some chance in the race as well. Look, for me, the only horse I could back is Pride Jenny.
No Argentia for you, Paul?
Oh, look, Argentia I've got on the next line. I've marked it more like about 16, 20 to 1 in that range.
Okay. And you didn't have a doubt on Chain of Lightning at the trip?
Well, yes, I suppose I could say that. Look, I've been hard on it, and I wouldn't want to back it. Wouldn't want to lay it, but definitely wouldn't want to back it. I'm happy to stick with Pride Jenny.
Yeah. So are you?
Okay.
So just for insight. So into your 20s, are you against the Ex-Elite race in general? Is that sort of?
No, I don't have opinions like that.
Okay.
The figures fall where they fall, and the way that I do the race. No, I wouldn't say I'm against that race at all. I wouldn't say that. Okay, on to the big one, the Caulfield Cup. John, the market.
See if I can get these names right. Smoking Romans into $3.90. Benno, $9. Wow. What is it? Now a maiden winner. Go, Benno. $11. Knight's Order. Allegron 12. Nonconformist 12. 13 Numerian. 15 Gold Trip. 16 Dewey. 17. Geez, they're getting out these horses. Inspirational Girl. 21 Durston. Great House 21. Montefilia 21. 21 No Compromise. 26 Macram. 26 Maximal. 26 Vow and Declared. Chaparda 61. 71. Crystal Pegasus, Charlie Rose 91, and the Mighty Sound $101.
Jason, you want to start?
Fuck, I've spent a lot of time on this race. It's complete torture. I'm on Benno at 51s. I almost wish a scratch so I get my money back. I can't see it winning. On Maximal at like 150s all the way down to 80s. It's going to scratch. On Macram at 51s, I hope it gets a start. It's a chance, I reckon. But forgetting my personal betting aside, that's not what we're here for. I couldn't talk anyone out of Smoking Romans. I mean, the only knock against it, I think, is they've gone pretty slow in the last two starts and run home quickly. But, you know, he's got form last prep. If you go back to those Pakenham Cup and Bendigo Cups, they went, 10, 15, 20 above standard. It sat on speed and kept going. It's clearly gone to another level. Kieran is just a genius. There's no doubt about it. It drops in weight. It's going to be on speed. It gets a good on-speed jockey with Carr. I mean, you just can't knock it. I think it's a great each-way bet. And then how I've worked the rest of the race out. So I'm going to save on Smoking Romans more because I love betting in handicaps and I love looking for value. I think the best horse in the race, and you might laugh at me, I think Inspirational Girl's actually the most talented horse. If this was a weight for age 2,000 metre race, that's who I'd want to be backing. I loved her running I loved her runs this prep. Second to Mr. Brightside first up, and then that Turnbull run. There was a number of good runs behind Smoking Romans. You just couldn't make ground. She was locked away on the fence, and I thought she ran home really well. They've been targeting this race for months, and Danny O'Brien is a trainer that you want targeting a sort of handicap 2,400 metre 2 mile race. She's out a reliable man, out of a Zabeel mare, so I think the wet's going to be okay. She ran okay in the Doncaster in that heavy 9. Barrier 1's not ideal, but look, I'm gonna have a crack at her. The other one that I like is Great House. I think its 2 runs this prep have been enormous. It's just had to go back from wide gates. It was sensational run in the Turnbull. Persan came off the exact same prep and ran 3rd in this race last year. It's my best roughie. So they're probably I'm saying Knight's Order can't beat Smoking Romans home. That's where I landed with it. I think Benno, it might be a cat, and I'm tying a leg run in with that, so I'm knocking them. I'm no knock non-conformist, and Dewey, it could be the one that blows everyone away at this price. I'm not, this could be a target. So that's where I've landed. I'm sort of landed on Inspirational Girl, Great House of Ruffy, and Smoke and Romans, Due and Non-Conformers can win. That's it. I'll say nothing outside of that can win.
John.
Yeah, I'm a bit sick that they've backed Knight's Order in. I think it goes extremely close. Just the wetter track and Tim, wide draw. He'll bust these horses up. And I was the same as Jason, like you're feeling the exact same words that I really wanted to penalise Smoke and Romans for getting soft runs up on soft speeds and sprinting home. And then I wasn't across that form so well from last prep. I went back and I was absolutely sick to see it running so well, even in lower grade races over this sort of trip. And like I say, it just tags these couple of on-speed horses. But I just think it's very short. So sick that I missed it last start. It's probably just a mistake in the market last start, to be fair, that it went around that price. But I still think the quality's in Knight's Order. I thought he just went way too slow on it last start. Couldn't have ridden it any worse. And totally against how that horse needs to be ridden. Wet track, much faster tempo this time, fitter. He'll give a heck of a sight. I think Due is the best horse in the race, and I think if it handles the going, it'll go extremely close as well. I think they're the two I want to make good winners, and I'm hoping Numerian gets out. I'm a little bit worried about it running a strong 24, but if it does, I think it's going to be right there. I thought its run was huge the other day in that Cascadian race, and that brings Montefilia into it too. I just love that Sydney form. I think it's much stronger than everything we've seen, and Due is the one that that has to rise from what it's shown its last couple, but now we're getting a price like it was $5 in this race a couple of weeks ago, and it's probably justified at 17. But I'm happy to be on its side at 17. I wouldn't be if it was 5. So for me, I think Knight's Order is well and truly the horse to run down, and I'm probably going to have something on Due and Numerian as well at odds.
Okay. Look, I think of all the races we've covered today, Smoke and Romans is my best bet. I've got it clearly favourite, and I've actually given it a bit of kick in the guts. I haven't bonused it going from Ethan Brown to Jamie Carr. So it's just got the right form at the right time for me. Most of these horses, of course, haven't had the lead up over 2,400 metres, but I couldn't. I wouldn't want to back anything else in the race with confidence. So I'm not declaring it, but I think it's a great chance. It'll be hard to beat. Look, the horse is probably most likely not going to get a run here, Macram. If it did, I'd have it actually. I'd be having a good go at it at the price for sure. So. Probably not much point talking about it outside those horses. I think Non-Conformist, Durston, Knight's Order, Due, No Compromise. They're the ones. But I don't think there's any value in any of those. But it'd be Smoke and Romans for a good bet, and Macram if it got a start.
Macram second pick.
Well, I had a second pick last week behind Saracen Knight, and they ran the exacta. I just think, it gets in with 50 kilos. I mean, I don't know who'd ride it, but yes.
That could be a good. That exacta comment you just made could be a promo for PaulDaly.com, where you provide a mentoring and life coaching service for punters.
Well, $24 a week, you're going to mentor us.
No, I'm not interested in selling tips. You
could even give dress sense advice as well. That'd be good. You could throw that in for $29.95.
Oh, it'd be extra if they wanted that.
He made me sick the other day. I bet up Machelade on Wednesday, and I'm there, and his old mate dropped the whip at the 200, nearly fall off it 6 times in the straight, got nutted. Then someone also sends me the old Paul Daly's tip, the camel down the outside for the place as well. So he's not even back the winner. I've done my ass, and he's still collected running third. It's just, it's like, oh my God.
Well, but mathematically, though, that race, there was only 2 possible hopes, I thought.
Machelade and Machelade.
No, the 2 favourites. I just thought the $1.50, 55 that they bet for the place was just outstanding value.
Just rubbed
Williams too.
So
Well, it
I
just
don't
seemed like
back
the
the winner, I
only
lose. You don't back the winner and you still win. I was sick.
And I managed to hold on with Port Phillip in Melbourne.
Oh,
How
back
did it win?
that too. Oh, man.
How did it
good.
win?
Good-
It
a
didn't
good
win.
bet on it. It did.
You know why? Because Kissinger was chasing it. That's why. And even Ollie couldn't get Kissinger home. It's a thinker, mate.
Mm.
Massive thinking. And it had a weight pull on it. Told at the end.
Okay, punters. Hope you get some winners out of that, and we'll catch you next week.
We need a winning Saturday. Azza needs a winning Saturday to take some confidence into Cox Plate Day and Cup Week. So come on, let's lift, boys. Don't get carried away. I'm a bit worried about trainers not wanting to gut their horses at Caulfield for the Cup Week. So it's going to be a very interesting post-race analysis as well.
Indeed. Okay, we'll catch you Monday, of course, for the review of the Everest card and another show there with P. Lawrence to talk about the Melbourne horses. Hopefully we'll be cheering Smoke and Romans home tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.